Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and we've got a fun episode for you today. We're going to talk about software as a service, also known as SaaS, along with a little bit of artificial intelligence, a little bit of data management, and maybe quantum. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, we're going to talk all about software as a service, how you build, what you should be looking at investing in, what you should be thinking about when scaling. And we've brought together some great investors from around the world to share their thoughts and insights around this area just for you. And if you'd like to be on a show like today's, do reach out to the team and or myself. We'll find that right spot for you. A big thank you to LATOKEN team and to Maria for making today's episode of VCTV possible. Let's go ahead and introduce our guests. With that being said, guys, welcome to the show. Gary Fowler, a short little introduction and background for everybody.
Yeah, great to be here, Kyle. My name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I love artificial intelligence and quantum computing. I've done 17 companies, 2 unicorns, our original management team of Click Software, which is sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, which is an AI HR tech company that I co-founded 5 years ago. And one of the top 10 AI HR tech companies in the world today. Also, I'm CEO, co-founder, and president of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio that believes that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities aren't. We work around most continents of the world. We just came back from a trip to Africa, Nigeria. My partner was over there. So we love it and looking forward to being on the show and love SaaS. So thank you, Kyle. It's great to be here.
Of course. And we're always happy to have you as well. And next up, Salman, welcome to the show as well. A little intro, a little background for everybody.
Sure. So I was an entrepreneur from about 95 to 2007. And then I changed to the other side as an advisor and investor. So I developed one of the first logistics systems in the United States that was later sold to UPS and FedEx, and have overall either co-founded or funded over 100 companies and startups. And I really specialize in the early stage investment and advising.
Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. I want to just kind of kick it off. I mean, SaaS, it feels like it's the least amount of things talked about today around the world of investment, even though most of what we are all building or looking at investing in is some type of software. It is some type of platform in some way, shape, or form. So would love to hear from both of you what your thoughts are as to how has SaaS evolved over the past few years and kind of really integrated itself in all these different other industries and technologies and kind of just lost itself as a term, but is still very much a part of our lives. And so Salman, let's start with you.
Well, SaaS has been around for a while, and I believe that it is really kind of one of the building blocks in almost everything that we are doing even today. And the idea really is that you take a number of hurdles that you would have to sell software by making it available as a service rather than doing it the old-fashioned way where everybody has to have their own installation, own servers, et cetera, or in the old days, we used to have our own computers physically to do that. Not even, this is before the time of co-hosting and sharing and so on came along. And the reason that it really scales well is that it reduces the hurdle to entry or the barrier to entry from a customer perspective because they have everything set up. So it really reduces the time. And then you can share a number of costs across your customer base. And that's really the two key things that make SaaS a good business and a good investment.
Thank you. And Gary, to you, same question. I mean, anything to add on Salman's point, but in general, I mean, how has SaaS in your eyes evolved? I mean, you talk about artificial intelligence all the time and the power of data and platforms. But again, we haven't referenced the word or term SaaS in a long time. What are your thoughts on where the industry is?
Well, I mean, the thing is SaaS is just, it's like, you don't talk about windows. You don't talk about, it's like, these are old terms. It's like these are given, so it's not, it's already, we've accepted it so much that we don't even think about it like we did before, because we're all using these models to be able to empower ourselves. What it's done is really leveled the playing field, Kyle. And I remember, by the way, I remember going into Salesforce office, just FYI, when there was about 6 people in the office, and they were in off 101, what is it called? Fashion Boulevard. And I remember going in there, and they were talking about thin client. So it's leveled the playing field. Why? Because the infrastructure that you used to have in order to be successful isn't needed anymore. And that's really the beauty, because you get up and running very quickly.
Agreed. And it's exciting to see as well, and would love to hear more as well, how artificial intelligence has now really helped SaaS evolve as we have more of this data, right? Software as a service created this, really birthed the future of what platforms would be, where we are today. Now inject artificial intelligence, bring into the conversation machine learning and models around data. How does this look going forward, so that as investors, we know where to kind of start placing our bets as well? Gary.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of AI, the personalization, software is easy to use. With the NLP, we're in a world of hyper personalization. So that's door number one, and we can see those changes taking place today. Speed, so artificial intelligence enabled SaaS really dramatically speeds up the internal processes, the operations. Just allows businesses, so if you're customer service oriented, to be able to answer questions faster. If you're doing forecast, I know with the company that I was on the original team of, Click Software, being able to get out routes to figure out what product to deliver at what time or right place, for instance, gas and oil delivery, those kind of situations. So it's to be more responsive. But the other thing is, when you add AI, think about it from a security standpoint. These AI-enabled automation tools and the ability of machine learning to recognize certain patterns, SaaS security really is enhanced by that identification and identification of potential threats, and also with built-in self-recovery. So it's very, very, very interesting. And then we look at things like machine learning that allows you to be able to, as I said, think about it, automate the responsiveness for customer reports, to be able to get out faster, and applications. Imagine live chatbots today. I mean, how many of us, when we call into airline, have the ability to use these live chatbots? It's really streamlined the processes, onboarding processes, so it's really across the board. So, I could dive deeper into this, but essentially you can do a whole lot of things, including contextual data and insights that we could never be able to do before, utilizing SaaS. It really has leveled the playing field for the world, because now we can access incredible power by using these applications that we don't have to have resident on whatever system we're using. It really is a very interesting model, and provides a subscription service model for companies, so they understand what kind of revenue they're going to have, MRR and ARR, because they can really do some incredibly accurate forecasting.
I mean, Gary, take us down a level deeper. I mean, talk to us about that contextual data and what you're seeing, because I think that is the evolution. That's what's starting to happen right now. So paint us a little bit more of a picture there, if you can.
Well, because you can go down through and you can analyze. Remember, we got the massive amounts of data streams. I talk about infobesity on a regular basis, but now you can go down through. You can have customer insights drawn from all kinds of data sources you can never get before, finding out, if a product, for instance, if you ordered a product or a product was being serviced, where that is in the supply chain, when it'll arrive, is it the right product, upsell you with other products, understand what kind of things you want and need. It just enhances, it gives it a 360-degree view of what's happening. And that's just the beginning. I mean, this is just the very beginning of it. I mean, think about it. Netflix personalized content suggestions and Waymo self-driving cars calculate what the potential risk factors our journey upholds. You know, it's just, imagine it. It is incredible. And as we enter 2021, these innovations are really a tip of the automation iceberg.
I love it. Thank you. And Solomon, anything to add? And just would love to hear your view as more opportunities and more areas that people should be paying attention to in SaaS as it's begun to evolve.
The next the next kind of frontier here is in unstructured data. I think we have a lot of structured data that we have been playing with for a while, and things are kind of very well defined there. But there's unstructured data such as, Greg was talking about Waymo cars and how they navigate through the sight and the sound and how they process and identify what is a car, what is a moving object, what is not a moving object. So this is where I believe the next series of challenges and opportunities lie for entrepreneurs as well as investors to figure out how we can maximize that. And that's where a lot of things like natural language processing, machine learning and stuff can come in to help us. Some of the techniques are already there. Some of the techniques I think we have to develop in order to really advance at this stage.
Hey, Kyle, we forgot to add one thing. We need to talk about centralized analytics. I think that's where you were going with it, right? And so, that's really the third pillar. So as this digital transformation, really accelerates, businesses all over the world are trying to figure out how to optimize and streamline their organizations. And that's really where you need to give you those deeper kind of insights, whether it's users or customers or competitors. And these are the kind of things, these investment in these analytics, software as a service innovation is really going to take off. And I think that, this is how part of this digital transformation, digital revolution is taking place today, right?
Right. Well, I mean, and we've seen a lot of this around predictive maintenance as well, whether that be, in an application, in a platform, in a service, or in just a supply chain as well. I mean, there's so much power to be had here. Where does quantum play a role in this, if it does? I mean, Gary, you've painted the picture around quantum and what power and capabilities it has to come in the future. But what are you seeing right now in terms of the world of quantum playing?
Well, I mean, the thing
this?
is, it's something, it's almost magical, because if you put quantum, and again, we haven't, scratched the surface because we haven't done it, but you can know anything at any time, at any place, and make course corrections in milliseconds. So it's just going to make the service a lot better. I think, as we talk about the world ahead of us, these, as I've said many times, these intelligent assistants, powered in all kinds of ways, quantum or otherwise, are going to really be there to be able to help us guide our lives better and help us do things we've never, everything from being able to travel through wormholes, from deep science, it's, the world starts to open up because we're able to model things so quickly, we can figure it out at speeds that we've never even dreamed about before. So it's just, right now it's incomprehensible. To be honest with you, Kyle, it's incomprehensible of how fast for most people it's going to change. And if I talk about it, it'll be like if you were back in the 1800s talking about landing on Mars. Like, really, it's not. So the thing is, we're on the verge of dramatically changing our lives, right, like we've never ever have experienced from the time of we started to build fires till today. It's going to be that much of a dramatic change in probably 30 years. It'll be unbelievable.
It's going to be exciting. I mean, you've painted the picture here continually on VCTV, and it's exciting to see it as it evolves as well. And Solomon, a big question for you. I mean, as we look towards this next year, as companies are building or raising around their latest platform and product and service, what advice do you have for them if they're building in SaaS for the future and today versus maybe what has been said in the past. So what's your advice to those founders that are building right now in the SaaS, a SaaS-based product?
So my advice is kind of independent of SaaS. I don't believe that it's a good idea to focus on a particular technology or a particular business model in order for you to be successful. I believe it is more important for you to solve real problems and use the appropriate tools for it. The main challenge I see in a lot of companies that are coming up, especially from first-time entrepreneurs, is they're looking for a problem that would fit their solution. And that's a much harder search to do than to start with a problem and kind of go expand from there. In addition to kind of the problem itself, the problem space that you're in is quite useful. So I think a lot of times we kind of get obsessed with one technology or another technology or the latest flavor of the month, but it's really ultimately a core business or a viable business. It's all about having a viable solution for a viable problem, and that problem has to be a high value problem.
Sorry, guys. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I got the time wrong. And
oh, no worries, Susan. We can't see you, so I apologize. You're not on.
I'm trying to be here in two different capacities. I hope you don't mind if I keep my camera off. I'm driving, so I apologize.
So real quick, Susan.
Sure.
Susan, sorry, real quick. So to the audience, you can't see Susan. So Susan is here. She's a great, outstanding investor. Definitely check her out. I'm gonna mute so she can talk because Susan, no one can see you since your video is not on.
Sorry.
So apologies. So no, go ahead. Go ahead and share.
I mean, in terms of the investment capacity and that angle, I must say that the real SaaS company or SaaS solution, I don't say it's rare to find, but we're always having a hard time to sort through SaaS versus IT shop. And I guess that actually affects both investors, companies, and vendors when you see that a company is trying to custom a software based on every use cases and for each customers. I don't call that SaaS, and I'm very upfront with the entrepreneurs, and I said that, hey, I mean, sorry, I don't see this as a software that can be a solution for similar problems. You're looking for different problems to custom your software to that, and 70% of your time, if not 100%, is actually spent on creating software that solves a specific customer. So I agree with you that you mentioned that they're looking for, they actually have a solution in hand looking for the problem. But I think that's really the definition of the SaaS. Sometimes the market doesn't know what it wants. And if we can find and elevate or define a problem, and we create a software that can solve that problem while it's not even defined for people, maybe we're getting to closer to the definition of the SaaS, so a problem that can affect many segments or many industries. So I want to be really clear about when people saying that, oh, I have a SaaS platform. Nowadays, for example, another buzzword is coming under no code. I mean, yesterday I got a presentation from someone that was saying very obvious that, hey, we created a no-code platform for gaming, but it was a game. It was not a no-code platform that me, for example, as a mom, can build a game for my teenager without using any code. So we really need to be careful about the definition and the buzzwords within the industry. Even I mean, as an investor, as an entrepreneur, as a customer of these products.
Great points. Thank you very, very much, Susan. Great. Got shaking heads all around on the panel here as well. So thank you very much. I want to come around real quick to really, again, that next piece of advice for Gary, and then I've got big closing thoughts for everybody. But Gary, any additional thoughts that you would add on to Solomon and Susan's points and advice for entrepreneurs building their platform, product, or service as well? Oh, Gary, you've muted yourself, so apologies there. We couldn't hear you, but go ahead.
I did it was when Susan was on. Sorry about that. But what I would say to the startups that are out there, pay attention. What's going to happen? The next trend that we're going to see is these vertical SaaS solutions, where really horizontal, based on clients across all kinds of sectors. We're going to see these really specific companies that focus on things like retail analytics, logistics, healthcare, and companies are really looking to benefit from specialization of these vertical SaaS solutions that are really focused on their particular industry. Why? Because they need to look at things like customer intelligence, business value, those kind of things. And if I was a startup out there, I would focus on that, drill down, and also APIs. I mean, APIs, be able to have those APIs to be able to do the right thing, because you've got these explosion of these SaaS solutions all over the place and adoption. We really need to integrate them into the current business platforms, because what kind of use are they going to have if they're not integrated? So I think there's a great opportunity. There is a great opportunity for those kind of technologies, and I'm excited about it.
I love it. And so everyone, I want to thank you, Gary. I want to come around for closing thoughts as well, and then where you can be found online, just to be sensitive of everyone's schedules today on Partner Monday. And Solomon, let's start with you. Any closing thoughts on the future of SaaS and where things go from here, but also where can you be found online for those looking to connect and speak further? Well, Solomon, sorry, we have you muted. If you can unmute yourself. And then Susan, I'm going to come to you next, so don't worry.
Okay. So from my perspective, I'm the opposite of the privacy police. What I would like to do is have something that would just be an intelligent agent that would just plan out my day, do all the busy work, and tell me exactly where they need help, so I can actually get more free time and I can take walks and so on and so forth. So from my perspective, and this kind of relates to Greg's API question, is it's really about connectivity and getting data from all different sources and developing a plan based on that from an individual and perhaps even an organization. And that's where I think I see the next future, that and the main challenge is to do that without boiling the ocean, because I've seen some efforts to do things like that, but they become so amazingly wide and they just grow and develop a life of their own. But if somebody can just manage my calendar and tell me what to do, when the grocery is due, order it from Amazon, and this goes to all the connectivity and stuff that we talked about earlier.
Thank you very much. Susan, to you, I know you were chiming in there, so I want to come back to you for closing thoughts, and then of course where you can be found as well.
Yeah, LinkedIn is my second home, so I spend a lot of time in there. And I guess I'm very excited about a PaaS, platform as a service. And honestly, recently I mentioned earlier about no code. I think that's actually where we're going, because creating these applications from the engineering side is not really something optimal. I feel that business operators, marketers need to be able to build these platforms, quickly try it, and try different use cases and different alternatives, and make that work for automation of the backend, facilitating different services and so on. So I guess if we really can emerge these no-code industry and allow the marketeers and allow people to build this application, people who touch the problems, people who are living with that problem and they want to facilitate it, is much easier than going through the engineering side, create solutions for problems that are not existing, as we mentioned earlier. And but for doing that in real world, I'm looking at different business plans and different platforms that are claiming that there are no code, but then at the end of the day, we realize that they are really low code, which has been there forever. I mean, this is not a new paradigm shift. So you're giving the code or APIs to different engineers to build applications. But I feel if we can achieve no code, That means that we have to spend 70% of our time of the development on the front end of the software, not only the back end. Back end is honestly the easiest part, but creating modules that these non-engineers can quickly try different applications. Sometimes you spend years and years on defining and developing an application, but you see that really doesn't work when it gets to the hand of the users. If we can do that, I'm very excited about that, and I'm looking for investment on that area. But honestly, I haven't seen a real solution yet. So let's see if that happens.
Thank you very much, Susan. Gary, close us out.
Yeah, I mean, these are exciting times, and this more level playing field that we have, where people can access their technologies easier, the software, the service, and I think it's incredible, and having AI as part of that solution is incredibly important for us. So we're in this, we're at the dawn of a new era. The thing that we need to keep in mind is cybersecurity is going to be critically important. Going through this digital transformation, I think we've lost sight of that a bit, and we need to really focus on it if we're going to have a safe and sustainable future, especially with emerging technologies like quantum. Nothing good's going to happen. We're going to find some bad characters out there. Let's go down through. So if you're developing solutions, think about vertical SaaS. Think about having cybersecurity and how you can really enhance the security of this entire network.
Thank you very much, Gary and Solomon and Susan. Thank you all for your thoughts and insights, and to our audience for tuning in. Thank you for all the great comments and questions that came in as well. Definitely reach out to all of our speakers today and investors. They're all available 24/7, 365 online. As they said, LinkedIn is their second home, so definitely reach out. Make sure you add context, where you heard them, where you met them, and what you'd like to continue the conversation about, so it's effective and successful for everybody. Also, a big thank you as well to the LATOKEN team and to Maria and Hasmik for making today's episode of VCTV possible. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me everywhere online at Kyle Ellicott, along with on all social media platforms as our guest as well. We'll be back here tomorrow with more VCTV. Until then, everyone have a great day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.